Hey, welcome back to another Mind the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Shubz, here with a very, very special guest in the building, an NRL Premiership winner, a State of Origin representative, and from what I've heard around the traps, I know around good bloke. Ben Ross, brother, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I think you forgot a sexiest man in the league, bro. You got to
Oh,
remember
I was about to
that.
say that too. Yeah. No, but I thought it had to come from you. I thought it had to come from you. I was like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there you go. The brother still got the tickets, baby. That's it.
I'm using it as much as I can, bro.
What was that like, bro? Getting that dub?
It was a joke. I reckon the boys jigged me up there, man. It's they always had the jib at me at training, and ran for about 10 years, so it's quite good.
Yeah, hard, babe, but you still got it, brother. You know what I mean?
Still got it, man.
Still got it, cousin. There's plenty out there that have got 3, 4, number 2, and didn't quite get 1. So there you go. And for anybody that doesn't know, who you are outside of that stuff, can you give us a little background on yourself, brother Ben?
Yeah, mate. So first and probably I'm a Queensland country boy. And people sort of don't understand, or they all know about Queensland origin and what boys come through. But in Queensland, everyone does it tough. The country people do it really tough. And rugby league's like their only avenue, or was in my day, to get out of, I suppose, the rut and try to make something of your life. So at the last day of high school for me, I had an opportunity to either work on the farm or go play football. So the day after, I began my first grade career with the Dragons. Played there or trained there for 5 years in the lower grades. Made my debut in 2002. After a few injuries. Made my debut in 2002. After a year, I was a big Penrith supporter. So at the end of 2002, I had an option to either go on to the Dragons for another 3 or 4 years, or I begged my manager to make a contract at Penrith. So played for the Panthers, lucky enough to win that premiership that you spoke about, man. It's the best thing ever. 03, 04, 05 Penrith. Then I went to the Sharks because of salary cap issues, those type of things. So I was lucky enough to experience a number of great players that we all know about, the Paul Gallons and the Greg Birds in the clubs. So I was there for 4 years and encountered a pretty horrific injury where I broke my neck in 2009. Had a year off, trying to learn how to walk and do a few things like that. Then lucky enough, or maybe stupid enough in my head, is to want to play football again. So I was lucky enough to have a contract with South for 2010-11, and then went on and played again at the Sharks for another 2 or 3 years. So bit wary. Understand that, and a lot of people, if you think, I'm just a bullfed rugby league player, my main priority in life was to get myself into a better position than where I was when I was a kid. So football was my car, or my vehicle, as I call it, and just open up the avenues to where I want to be and where I am today.
Beautiful, brother. We spoke about being a Queensland country boy. Take us back, brother, way back to being where you from originally, where you born, then, what was life like there as a Queensland country boy?
So the big thing was I was born in Chinchilla, so a little country town. Mum and Dad were trying to do their best and trying to put money together. They married young, had my sisters young, and then myself. And I was actually born, and my parents sort of were upended, sort of didn't know where they were going to live, that type of stuff. So I came from a pretty battle-hardened family. They moved to Blackwater, which is in the central of Queensland, right near Rocky. Funny enough that in that same town, you got the likes of Ben Hunt, Dave Taylor, myself. So 3 boys that had come from a little country town like that. So it's pretty special. But it was a mining town, really tough, rugged kind of thing. So learning, upbringing through that. And when I was about to hit high school, my parents said to me, hey, we've got to move to the coast, got to get a better education, that type of thing. So being battle-hardened and from a family who knew the importance of education, trying to be better in life, they gave me an opportunity to start learning. But when I moved to the coast, I actually found football. So it was my way of losing weight. So I hadn't played footy until then. So being battle-hardened, we were just on the farm, we're doing stuff, mining towns, like never anything else. So got to the coast and I wanted to make friends and lose a bit of weight because I was a big chubby kid growing up. So old man put me in football and it was like a duck to water. I loved it. So living in Queensland, as I said, everyone loves football, rugby league. It's the best time of the year right now. Everyone's worried about Origin, who's in and who's out. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Blackwater too. My old lady and my sisters, they all live in Emerald, brother, so not too far.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brother. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, because they've been there for ages, like 10+ years. Yeah. Shout out Emerald, cousin.
It's a small world, eh? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, small world, brother. But yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't actually know that that's where Dave Taylor came from too. I knew he came from Thing, but I knew Ben Hunt.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
So they're all in there.
obviously, one of them was sexiest man in rugby league. There you go.
Right. If Dave Taylor's listening to this, he'll be saying, "God, he should have been." So, mate, the guy loves himself the most at stage.
Bro, he was a gun though, eh, brother? Like, so,
Yeah,
like for such a big man, so silky, yeah, too. The guy.
he was the most gifted athlete I've ever played with. He had
Yeah.
everything. For a 130 kilo giant, he could run like a winger. He could play like a 5'8", and just lacked that little bit of the professionalism. Like, he was good.
Oh,
But I
okay.
just don't think he realised his pure talent. He was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so when you were growing up in that, brother, like, what did you get into much trouble, or you just just pretty cruisy upbringing with the, and just play football when you got a bit older, but you not too much trouble.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the
Yeah.
brothers
So,
here, a lot of common thread is that they, rugby league sort of saved their life, and a lot of the brothers that I talk to,
yeah. Yeah.
similar for
I'd
you or
say,
nah?
no, not in the way of trouble. So, as I said, I'm a farm boy. So, I
Yeah.
had one option. I could either play rugby league or I could work on the farm. And I tell you, the life I learned working on the farm with the old man and doing a few things like that, like obviously as a businessman in the background as well, but taught me the right from wrong, the respect of like elders. And that was probably
Right.
my big thing, is that if I didn't have that respect for them, I could have gone another way. And a number of my mates did. So my old man kept me away from the drink and all the bad things when I was younger. So I never had my first drink till I was in Sydney, so until I got into the footy world. And obviously that world's now changed. But yeah,
Yeah.
it kept me away from trouble, and it kept a lot of my mates out of it. So you sort of understand, and you said rugby league keeps people in check. We got to keep our mates in check, and that was probably the big thing. I came from my school was a public school, a lot of pot smokers, a lot of people who had issues with alcohol, that type of stuff. So trying to gather that, and it's strange in a way that when you talk about, I probably had half my class that sort of went nowhere, and the other half were rugby league players. And those rugby
Oh,
league
wow.
players have now gone on to bigger and better things. So sport did change their life in some way or another. But yeah, rugby league, amazing game.
But like you said, a vehicle and giving you direction,
Yeah,
I guess, and purpose, right?
yeah, it is, and it's the connections you make. Like, one of my mates over here runs and founded one of the biggest gyms in Australia, and he made that from connections from people he met within the game. And it's just those things you sort of gravitate, as you said, that vehicle. It's an amazing thing to be a part of and move, but connecting and making, I suppose, the moment. And that's what I talk about in my career, is you have that one moment where it's the opposite, like the sliding doors that people
Oh,
talk about. I
sliding
say
doors, yeah,
one
yeah.
moment. Yeah, yeah. And so there's someone you never know who you're going to meet, who's going to put you in a better position in life. And that's worked out for me every day of the week. Anyone I meet, I always make sure that I'm always kind, always respectful, and treat them, no matter if they're the richest man in the world or it's a beggar on the street. It's sort of one of those things. I can see someone's clicking into my computer as well in the background there, but
Yeah,
surprise, I'm just making sure the boys don't put something up on the screen. No. Should go out to them. Tell them to put some sexiest man league photos.
yeah. I thought about using those ones, then I thought, no, but the only reason I thought not to, because I thought, he's probably got him sexier. So, and I was right, brother.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like a fine wine, eh, brother? Plenty people out here.
Exactly.
Plenty of people out here aging like milk, brother. Shout out to you. But speaking on that, is there a moment when you sort of knew, like, this is all I want to do, or did it just gradually get there? Like, was you just like, oh, this is all I want to do is just only play rugby league and I want to make it in the big time? Or was there like a moment for you that, boom, this is it, I can actually do this?
Yeah, it was strange as a kid growing up. Like, there were rep teams, and I remember the position I was in. I never made a rep team. I was under 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s,
Wow.
14s, 15s.
Nothing.
I didn't make anything, nothing. And I was, as I said, I was one of those bigger kids, and I really didn't take football seriously. And then I remember we had this rep trial, and there was possibles or probables, and I didn't know which was which. And I went out having a muck around, and I really thought I'd make it. I thought, oh yeah, this is gonna. I remember they read out the team, and I didn't make it. And I got in the car, and I remember driving home, and my dad's old Ute, driving along, and I'm in tears about not making the team. I thought, oh, definitely kids are going to laugh at me because I really was pretty cocky about making it. And he literally turned to me and he gave me a few expletives. That's probably one of the big things is he ripped into me and said, listen, you're having a joke in your life. Like you said, you're at the age, you're 14, 15. What are you going to do with your life? You're going to be stuck on the farm, or are you going to get out of here? What are you going to do? And he literally said, oh, well, I want to make it as a rugby league player because I know that I can get out of home and support myself and do all these things. Rugby league was a big point in sport of that. And I remember him turn to me then. He said, well, number one is you need to get fitter, and I'm going to support you. So we're going to run every day until you make your first rep team. So every day he swore to run with me. And so we had this running track, and I still dread it to the day. But I remember that day we got home from footy and we ran that track, and I couldn't run 200 or 300 meters without being out of breath. And he was pretty positive. He always said to me, listen, you may not be the best right now, but you're going to be better every day you do something right. So every day we ran, and it was every day we ran. And it was about a year later, we had the trials come around again. It was a schoolboys competition, and I made the shadow. So, you know, when they pick the team and they pick a support player. So I got picked as a support player, and he goes, well, mate, you've made your first rep team. You don't have to run anymore. But instilling that training session into me every day, I was like, no, I want to. That's not a rep team. We've got to keep going until I get better. It was funny enough. One of the guys pulled out, and I got put into the team, into this Sunshine Coast team. And from that I suppose that mindset, I went down to the carnival, started on the bench, but I ended up making the Queensland schoolboys team from that. So it was pretty good mindset, and working through that. And then I understood what hard work gets you. People say, like, you're lucky you got to do this. And I said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And that's, man, it's no bullshit. Like I talk to the guys in my office. Obviously we're in finance and sales now, and some guys have the gift, but they only have the gift because they work so hard at it. And that's probably the big thing I always look at, man.
Everything falls into place. It's interesting you say that, like, it's different strokes, but even just with this little thing, I started this in January, brother, but it's been a 5-year idea in my mind. There's a whole story behind why I finally did it. But this is, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be like episode 220 in 5 months. Been crazy, brother. But you know, for me, I just want to, and not 220 willy-nilly, like 220 of value, brother. Like, you know, some interesting humans from all walks of life sharing their stories. I've also been able to create a few shows with a few mates of mine, and we've been, you know, just been consistent with it. And but you're right, brother. I noticed that the more that you know, continue to work at it, whatever it is that you do, the more things start to align and more people start to reach out and whatever. So I think you just copy and paste and put that into whatever you do.
Well, I was actually going to mention that too. And the thing is that when you first approached me, I said, yeah, I want to do it, but I didn't know if I had the time to do it. And you were following up, and you were processed, and you pushed. And I was like, mate, I'm just going to make time. So obviously I'm at work now, as you can see. It's respectful that, hey, you want to do that with your life. You want to work hard. Well, yeah, make it. It's mad. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%, brother. No, beautiful. And what you say is just is on, and like you said, like I said just before, copy and paste that to whatever you want to do, and I think you'll get somewhere, or you'll get further than everybody that ain't anyway. You know what I mean? You know?
It's that one day. It's that one extra day can make a hell of a difference.
100%. And I think that's something that I sort of I like sort of speak to like my people every day, like, bro, daily deposits, just like daily, you know, depositing something into your dream or whatever it is, just daily, every day. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't have to be, you know, like Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. But I think they leave out of that statement, Rome wasn't built in a day. Yes, correct, but it was built day by day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's something that they leave out of that statement when they say, because then people are, Rome isn't built in a day. Let me just relax then. Like, nah.
Mate, you never relax. And that is the thing. Like the boys, like, I talk about Eddie Pettyborn that I play with at South Sydney, and he went to the Times. He's a legend of a fellow and doing really well up in real estate on the Gold Coast now. But he always used to give it to me like, I had this saying of never give up, ever give up. So when I was told I'd never walk again, I proved them wrong to walk, and then learned to run again, and I wanted to play footy, and so I started playing football again. And never give up was on my boots and everything I wore. And he used to say NGU. So NGU is our gimmick. And then when he retired, he realised the hard work, and that saying is never give up, no matter what. Every day, push in. And mate, he's killing it up there at the Gold Coast now. But it's every day. Have a dream and just don't give up. Someone will knock you down at some stage, and that's what I think I've been you're climbing high. Someone's always going to try and knock you down. Someone's always going to badmouth you or try to ruin your career because they're jealous. You just got to work harder and just prove them wrong.
Yeah, hard. And at the end of the day, I seen a story of Nick Kyrgios, the great Australian, tennis player. He's
Yeah, right.
controversial to some. I love how Nick Kyrgios just his ways cracked me up, but entertaining, obviously. And I seen him interviewing
definitely.
Mike Tyson. I don't know if you've seen that little.
Yeah, I saw
But
it. Yeah.
did you see the little there's a little snippet in there where he's like, "Is there anything you wish people wouldn't understand about you more?" And he's like, nothing. Fuck you.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's it. At the end of the day, and that doesn't mean you're like, fuck you. Like I don't like, It's just like whatever, like your opinion is of what I'm trying to do, and what like if you believe in it enough, just go for it. Don't care about what everyone says, man. Just get whatever that. Just keep going. Like you said, you're gonna get knocked down. That's life, right? Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
But
and that's what you said a lot, and some people don't like his attitude or what it is, but
Mm.
that's him. I understand he's got respect in other ways. He gives respect in other ways. He may have that hot mouth, and he may do some idiotic things that I think's idiotic, but
yeah, I think so too.
Just,
some of them.
but it's him, and yeah, you're right. In all
but that was actually Mike Tyson that was saying that, brother. That
Yeah.
Mike Tyson said, like, but even him, like, I think of like Mike, like people think of the controversial shit that happened in his life. But could you imagine being a dude from like the gutter, and you're the bloody champion of the world, the youngest champion of the world ever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like all this money, all of this stuff, bro. Like not many people be able to fucking handle that anyway. You know what I mean?
No, well, he showed it, didn't he? What did he go and buy some white tigers and
everything? Apparently, if he just seen you and you were nice to him, he'd just buy you a bloody Rolls Royce or something. Like there's some stories out there. But
yeah, man.
What a life, eh, Gus?
And that's what I mean. You look at that and you think, okay, he's lived life. He's been absolutely crazy and all well to him. But look at him now. Like he's come back and he's doing better for himself. Right? So there's that positive reinforcement. He's been able to change his life again, and that's what I suppose people listening to this, mate. It's not the end of the world if something doesn't work out. Say if this podcast didn't work out, you didn't get to 180 or 220 podcasts, and you're at 10, you can reevaluate and go again. Like. That's what I keep saying to people. The clients that I work with, they work on their investments and how their funds are going and that type of stuff. And I'm like, you keep diversifying and working hard on your investments. You're going to be wealthier than what you were yesterday.
Yeah. How did you get into that? We'll jump all over the place, but how did you get into that game, brother?
Yeah, man. So it's funny. Tim Sheen's back in the day, he said, and it's probably one. He goes, "Don't marry beauty, marry brains." So the boys always used to say that. So it's one of these things. So even though my wife's beautiful, I better put that straight in place.
Yeah, come on now, brother.
But she's very smart. So I married a pharmacist. So when I snapped my knee in half, I fell in love with the local pharmacist because I had to get my painkillers off her. But
oh man,
yeah. So I started getting into business. So she worked in there, and I thought to myself, how am I going to get ahead in life? I've been to university, I'd done a few degrees, that type of thing, but I wanted to do more in business. So I learned about pharmaceuticals, and my wife and I started buying pharmacies for a living and getting into business. Then when I retired from footy, I went back to the Men of League Foundation. So I wanted to give back to the community. It gave me something. I worked there for a number of years, and then from there, and this is sorry about a long story here, but then I went back into the Sharks. I thought I'll go back, and because health science and mental health is probably my big thing that I do. That's where I base my whole life, and went back to the Sharks to help them in their wellbeing and ed. So half the boys you see running the NRL now, I've been able to help and transition through their periods and all that type of stuff. But it was more for me that when COVID hit, the CEO came to me at Sharks and said, "Listen, we know that you have a business background. You know how to work on people and improve the business. Do you want to take on certain, I suppose, roles within the club?" So I ran merchandise, membership, ticketing, game day activations. Took on about 4 or 5 roles because COVID really stuffed every club. I continued that for about 3 or 4 years. Started to break a few of the records, a few underlying issue things there, and was really happy in my role. And it was funny, and you say you meet people that can change your life. And I met someone I was selling. I treated him just like a normal person. He was just a regular guy who wanted to go to the Sharks and treat him really well. And he asked me all about the background. And next thing I turn around, it's my CEO of this company right now. So he literally said, "Hey, mate, you've ticked all these boxes. Would you ever come and work with us. You've got your business background, you know finances, you know how to work onto people and treat people with respect. Come and have a go with us. And I hadn't had a holiday in 4 years. So I worked 4 years straight. So I had 16 weeks holiday up my sleeve, took 16 weeks off, went and learnt this job, and started kicking goals from the start. So I moved into this area and have loved it ever since. This is probably the most ethical business that I've been a part of. So obviously we do a lot with the NDIS and building support systems for the government through investors funds, and it just everything combines. Everything I've loved in life is combined into one right now, and it's allowed me to do what I do.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
it's a bit strange, man. And that's if people are listening out there, it's you find what you love, and somehow you got to massage it into your everyday life. And so I've been able to do I'm working with people that I love to work with. I love business and the community. Like to know that you're helping someone out with a disability is my number one goal.
Yeah, solid. Did
Yeah,
you
man.
have anybody in your family that had a disability growing up at all?
Well, the big thing for me is when I broke my neck in 2009. So to
Yep.
never be able to be known that my wife, the doctor, I remember laying in bed not being able to move my body, and the doctor turned to my wife and said, "Hey, we don't think Ben will ever walk again. We've got this operation that we're going to try. If it works, hopefully he'll get some relief. Hopefully he can move maybe his arms or part of his legs. We don't know." And to see that look on my wife's face, we were just recently married, no kids, and I felt on myself that I was going to be a big burden for her. Like it absolutely killed me. I was like, the last words I said to her when I went under, I said, if I can't walk or do anything like that, I'll move my body again, put a pillow on my face because I don't want to be a burden to you. And I understand that there's people with disabilities who feel the same way, and realizing that they're not. So how can, and this is where I found, how can we give them a better life and understand and support them in a way to support their family? And this makes sense for me. So I've got a mate, Nathan Stapleton, who you may hear of, who broke his neck playing rugby union just to play one game with his brother. Those type of support systems, and that's what we do now, is more beneficial than anyone. So yeah, just I've been associated with it for a number of years in regards to especially neck injuries, but disabilities. I have one very close girl that I helped out, Jamison Leeson. She's actually going to the Olympics, Paralympics coming up. Great little girl, but just being able to change people's lives has been fantastic.
What did she do at the what kind of Paralympian is she?
It's a ball game, and now I feel bad that I can't remember the name of it. But
No, that's right.
her and her mother, we work together. Obviously, they live out Dunedoo, out western New South Wales.
True.
They needed, and when I was working with Men of League Foundation, they needed a vehicle to get her to and from hospital visits and so forth, and we were able to raise the money to be able to do that. And in that process, she found a sport that she loved to do, so it gave relief for her mum, all that type of stuff. So it was quite good. It was just one of those processes, yeah, and just absolutely loved it. So to get her there, and now I think she's been in one of the campaigns at the moment for the Paralympians. So it's just a fantastic story.
That's awesome, brother. What is Men of League for anybody out there that don't know what the hell? What's Men of League?
So Men of League now. So it's now called Family of League. So obviously we're in a politically correct world. Men of League was founded by Ron Coote, one of the greatest players who ever played the game. And what he wanted to do was help those that he'd had association with in football. So those who fell on hard times. So started off helping older first grade players because back then they weren't making money. So he wanted to really help them and get them back on their feet. And then we realised that, hey, everyone in the community and rugby league community wanted to get back on board. So we then helped out the mums, the dads, the kids in sport that maybe financial hardship, operations, mental health, whatever it may be. We continued that on, and it snowballed and became quite a large foundation. Then, as I said, it had to change the Family of League to be politically correct because we help out every man, woman, and child within rugby league.
Yeah.
So it is a support system that is, I suppose, the volunteers are all rugby league people, especially a lot of first graders that have come back and want to give, I suppose, there. And I think in New Zealand there is, what is it? Maybe League Gives, something like that. It's one over in New Zealand. Yeah. So and they're doing the same thing, which is phenomenal. For And that's what I mean. For those that are doing it tough in I suppose, that have had an involvement in rugby league, it's a great way to get a benefit and find your pathway.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Coot? Like,
he's good. He's amazing. It's strange. You growing up, and my dad knew of him more than what I did. I didn't really get to watch much footy of him, but he is one of the toughest. Like, you look at it, he's one of the toughest men to have ever played the game. Very astute businessman.
Immortal, right?
Immortal? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, coming along.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's those type of things that you look at and you go, okay, he's done everything in the game, every business. Like, he owns Maccas everywhere. But all these type of things, and to meet him, he is such a humble human, and that's probably the best thing about him. And as you know, we can keep always going back to rugby league. Rugby league people are great people. They care about each other. They just want to help each other. So Ronnie was good, and everyone involved in the association. As I said, every kind of first grade player has some involvement with the rugby league community in men of league or family of league. You've got lots of, like, Norm Proven, who was on the trophy. Got to meet him a number of times, and then you got your Darren Lockyers, your Cameron Smiths, all these boys. They all tend to help out at some stage in the rugby league world, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Do you still support a team now, brother? Like, are you still a Panthers fan now? Or?
Yeah, bro. It's
been all right the last 5 years, eh, brother? Last 3 especially.
It's the best. Oh, mate, on the weekend. So obviously, I love the Sharks, but it was Penrith Sharks. They still come out a bit later, but Penrith just won 42-0. I'm very happy about that, bro. But so
I was happy about the week before. Up the walls.
and that's the thing, man. It's strange you be involved with so many teams, that type of thing. But I was a Penrith fan growing up, so it's the one thing I always wanted to do was play for Penrith. So I was quite lucky to do that. And now that I have,
like, you like was it like Freddie Fittler?
Oh, went up back then. So
Reece Simmons.
Yeah. So who was Fittler was my favorite player. So he was there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Greg, and then Ben Alexander, he was there. Unfortunately, the accident took his life. But then Mark Geyer, those boys. It was a real old school kind of team. Like, I love those teams, and it's funny enough. I've done a lot of work with New Zealand radio and that type of thing, and the Warriors were my second favorite team. So the Warriors have always been. Yeah, man. It's actually when looking at. When I was leaving Penrith because of salary cap issues, I actually looked at the Warriors, Melbourne and Cronulla. And Warriors is a big thing for me because of the culture. So coming over to New Zealand every year, like, the people are hospitable, the family environment. And I love New Zealand. I've travelled around New Zealand twice in camper van. So
solid.
Just love the place. Yeah, I love it, man. And and Invercargill, like, I've been there 2 or 3 times, and I love it. We played down there 1 year.
Down there.
Oh, really?
He's played the Warriors down there. Was it in the preseason or something? When you won
preseason trial.
That's
right.
Right.
And it was mad.
I had Scotty Stats on here. I mean, he talked about it, brother, about how that.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about different points in the year where he was like, we're on here, and like talking about how you own the Warriors. So, like, going into the prelim, you're like, we got this, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, being a Warriors fan and kid growing up, I'm like, wish that wasn't true, but I do remember those years of, like, the Panthers boys, and then the fro bros and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, man. They were freaks. They were so good, those two. They were amazing. To have someone, and Tony Puletua, to have him in your side, you just knew he was something special. You always knew that. Like, I think I only saw him ever back down from one opposition member. So, like, you're always physical and all that type of stuff, and you only ever back down from one person. And I wish he didn't, because I was getting bashed up by Gordon Tallis. You see Tony sitting there going, Tony didn't want to come.
Oh, so that was Gordy. Oh, true. Well, I just think Gordy did it because he was like, how dare this guy's going to win 6th man in the league. I can't believe it. He's just jealous, Gordy. Gordy, you jealous bugger.
God.
How are you and Gordy? Do you and Gordy have a relationship now? Or?
Yeah, no, really good relationship now. So, obviously, when I came back,
rematch.
Oh, man. What are those big fight nights? Said you should take him on. I'm like, no way, man. He's the quickest man alive in regards to throwing punches, like 100 punches at a time. That's like, mate.
That was pretty quick though. Those uppercuts.
Quick. But yeah, and that's what I mean. We've got a good relationship now. We worked at South together when I played there with the coach, and obviously Origin and that type of stuff. But whatever happens on the field, like you may fight on the field, do something stupid on the field, but it doesn't mean you like that off the field. So we get along pretty good. But man,
good,
he beat the crap out of me that day.
but wasn't it Wayne that told him you better go out there and like so it was just unfortunate it was you sort of thing? Like it could have been Tony.
Well,
it could have been someone else.
You can see in the video Tony's like, I don't want anything. He literally stood next to me, just like, no man, I don't want this, and walked away. I was like, God.
Hey, big love. I heard he's one of the funniest men alive though, Tony Puleatua.
Yeah, he is. Or he thinks he is. No, he's good. But he's great. That's what I mean. We had something special, and as you said, Satsy would have said the exact same thing. The good group of the guys there, like we're just mates. Everyone got along. Everyone had trained together. Always had fun. I think that was probably the big thing is that we all had fun when we were playing. It wasn't a job. And most footy boys now look at it and go, "Okay, I'm getting paid high. It's a job. I've got to work." And obviously they work hard, but that enjoyment, you miss that. And Panthers at the moment are doing how good they look because they're having fun.
Brother, it just doesn't matter who plays because, like, you know, the system is
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. That's right. The Wires again, Fisher Harris. What? You boys can get grand finals for the next few years.
Hopefully, brother. Hopefully, bro. He's the man. And I think just the fact that, you know, and because he wants to be there too. It's not like you said, money wise. I don't think. You know, if you believe the rumors, I don't think he's getting paid crazy amount. He just wants to go home. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, what a guy, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As I said, you find boys that are like that. They want to go and play for either like their cultural heritage. Like they instead of playing for say New Zealand, they go and play for Tonga or Samoa or whatever.
Yeah, how cool is that too, brother? That changed the game too. Those boys doing that.
Yeah, so Andrew Fafita, number one, like I'd see him every day. So he coaches my daughter in some things, and I've coached his son in a few footy games, and yeah, that type of stuff. And you talk about family and culture, and that's why I wanted to go to the Warriors. It's probably one of the big things is understanding that totally different mindset over there is that, family comes first, which is a big thing.
Yeah, well, and I guess it's sort of innate because of the the Polynesian culture that's part of Maori or Maori, but like you're Tongan and whatever, someone like this. We all love our families, but like it's a bit different, eh? Like and you can sort of being obviously being a white Australian man, but like you know what I mean. It's a bit different, like
totally, and it just you can't put words on it, but it's different. Yeah, and so I see that through all the boys that I've played with. You see it's a big difference as well. Like you just know, you can see it. Like as I said, I ran the wellbeing and education for our younger boys, and we went over to New Zealand and we brought their families together from New Zealand that they don't get to see their sons play and all that type of stuff. And they came down, and every parent got up and spoke about what it meant for them and just how close knit they were. It was like amazing, and it was just you understand what it is then when you see the families and the kids together.
Yeah, solid, brother. Was there a moment in that 2003 year where you knew, like, bro, we're on here? Like, was there a moment for yourself personally that you remember? Do you remember that moment? Can you speak on that moment?
Well, it's funny. We always used to say, like, we'd be playing a game, and this is I knew that you had something special. Is that a team would score against us? We knew we'd be standing behind the line, and the boys would be like, "Who cares? They just scored. We'll score again." And it was just like cock. And I'm like, I'm sitting there going, because I'm coming from a Dragons structured outfit that really were just we just got to flog these guys, and hopefully we'll score again and get in the grind. But you have people like Reece Wester and Craig Gower who were like, get the ball to Reece, you run around them and score a 100-meter try, and it happened. Like I remember sticking my head up out of scrum days, and I'd be like, I need to catch my breath. I'm dead. And then you look up, and Reece's scoring a try 100 meters away from you. Like, all right, we got it. We got a break, and all the front rows be like, done. But we knew when we beat the Broncos in the semi-final, I knew that we had something special then. It was hard. It was hard though. Like coming up against the Warriors before the grand final. I reckon that's the one time I sort of had a little bit of doubt in our head. Like, Warriors came back. Yeah. Oh, man. The Warriors, they're just the physical side that always came at you. And they had something special, like footwork or whatever it may be. They knew they always had that little flick pass or We
Yeah,
had to
that
be
was
on a game, which
those
thankfully.
couple of years, those 3 years, sort of around that era, where Warriors were deadly, eh, brother? They were pretty good.
Oh, deadly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I mean. That's why it's great to see him going so good again now. It's just
Well, not the
and
last
it's
few weeks, but last 2 weeks here, but yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But hey, it's
yeah,
still early days, baby.
but
It's
they
still
got it.
early days.
That's
Not
it.
going to
That's it.
run like you guys. You went on an 8 in a row run. You never know, brother. You never know.
Yeah, and that's we say to people, and I talk to the boys about it now. Is that there's teams with injuries now, and so the Sharks are on top of the table because they're injury free. They're going okay, and then Nico Hines gets injured with his calf muscle, and they start to flounder a bit. And it's whatever team at the end of the year has the healthiest boys on the park that's going to win. So let's hope that's Penrith or Sharks. Sorry, Warriors, but yeah.
Also, is that how it goes now? It's Penrith Sharks.
Yeah,
You must be pretty stoked when they got
I
the dub in 16, then, eh, brother? That would be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was good. It was good, and it's one of those things is that they always ask where were you when the Sharks won, and it was pretty mad, man. I was at the game. I'd done about 15 or 16 hours of work on that day just because it was the Sharks there. So meeting corporates and showing people around, and I remember standing there and watching that last play and thinking, "Oh, Melbourne are going to score here." Melbourne always seem to do something like that, and to have that moment and to see so many grown men cry over a grand final was pretty special. I'm not to say I wasn't one of those guys who cried. But the first thought in my head was, because Gal and I are pretty close, I always used to say to Gal had won Origins and captain Australia and all that. But the one thing I had over him, he'd never won a grand final. So every day we see each other go, "It's okay, man." And I used to show him my grand final ring or the grand final tat. And I'd always had it over him. I thought, "Oh shit!" He's got me. So he's done. He's done one thing better. So he's won and captained that grand final, which is bloody amazing. But yeah, it was a good thing for, I suppose, for the Sharks and for the community in the Sharks. Now they're selling out games now still because of it. So they've had I think sellout games for the last 4 years, which is pretty phenomenal effort.
100. Can you talk about like that moment with your neck and that? Do you remember much about it? Can you speak on that at all, brother?
Yeah. So I was pretty superstitious as a kid growing up, and it's funny. I look at things now, and every time I played Penrith, I got injured. So after I begged to, when I was at Penrith, I begged for them not to. We had a salary cap issue, obviously because we'd won and everyone's wages went up, and we're all playing Origin in Australia, and all our contract bonuses put us over the cap. So John Lane came in with Richo and said, "Listen, there's 2 players that could probably possibly go to another club and double or triple what they're on now." And I was one of them, and I begged for them. I said, "Listen, I've got 2 years left on my contract. I don't want to go. I'd rather take a pay cut and stay." And sort of had all this upset feelings. But in the end, I ended up signing for the Sharks, which was a good thing. But every time I played Panthers from then on, I got injured. So first time I came back, I snapped my knee, and I had to have the rest of the year off. Then the next time we played them, I smashed my nose. And then the third time was when I broke my neck. So it was the first game of the season. It was a stormy night. So I remember them kicking off, and the wind was so strong that the ball was held up in the air and it sort of dropped. Everyone missed it, dropped into my hands, and I made a 50-meter break. So I knew something wasn't right if I was making a 50-meter break. So there's something wrong in the air. But it was one of those things that played the whole game. We were winning. It was one of those nights we thought, yeah, okay, this is us. And I went to make a tackle on Adam Woolnough. And as I tackled him around the legs to go down, 2 of the other boys pushed him back the other way, and my chin hit my chest. And I heard this snap, and my arms instantly went numb. So I couldn't move them. I just held like that, and it just froze. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I couldn't move them, but my legs could move. And one thing Ricky Stewart said to me was, if you're ever injured, get back in the line to show them that you're not injured, so they don't come at you in defence. And so I got up using my legs and my arms against my chest, and we're on our defensive line. I leaned against the pole, so it sort of held me upright. And luckily, Penrith knocked the ball on, and the trainer came across to me. He goes, "What's the matter?" I said, "I heard something snap in my neck, but I can't move my arms." And he literally laid me straight down on the ground and held my neck straight. And they took me off the field and on the medicab, and we went into the dressing rooms, and the doctors tested me out, and I couldn't feel anything, but I could still wiggle my toes. And they go, "Oh, it must be okay. You can wiggle your toes, but you can't move your arms. So it must be like a burner or." And then heard the siren go, and we'd won, and the boys were cheering, and you sort of walk past the medical room to go into our dressing rooms. The boys are coming in going, Rossi, you're okay. And everyone was pretty confident. And one of the boys came and tapped me on the shoulder like that, and my legs went instantly dead. He goes, oh, you're okay. And went, boof. And they're like, uh-oh. So went straight to the hospital, had all the scans, that type of stuff. And it was quite a difficult situation. So they put me in the hospital. I remember my wife was there with me, doctors and all that type of stuff. And they came back with the scans and they said, mate, there's nothing wrong with your neck. It must be just bruising or whatever it may be. So they kept me overnight in a brace, but I couldn't move my arms and my legs. And everyone left. They said, you'll be okay. And so I was sitting there. It was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I vomited. And because I couldn't move, I started choking on my own vomit. So, yeah. So, and I couldn't press buzzers or anything like that. And the nurse happened to walk in. I'm trying to spit it out of my mouth at the same time. So I was choking, and she ended up clearing me out. And the next day I still couldn't move. So my body was aching, and none of my arms and all that stuff, nothing was moving. And so I said, oh, we'll have another scan in a few hours. It might be swelling around your neck that we can't see something. And they'd lifted the bed up. So, you're normally flat on the bed. Look at that wonky finger, sorry. So I love it, brother, love it. So, and they put the bed up so I could sit up a bit. And it sort of hurt as I was doing it. I was like, oh, should we be doing this? They put me up, and I was sitting there, and it was all pretty good. And Dave Riccio, who everyone knows is a really good reporter in Australia, Rugby League's probably finest reporter, came in. He's a good friend of mine, and we started chatting. And there was sort of my wife and him were there chatting away. And he goes, "Oh, doctors have told me this is a pretty good outcome. You haven't got a broken neck, and you'll be right." Da 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 da. Then suddenly the doctor ran in, and he goes, "We got the final scans." And he looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing sitting up like that?" And like, what? And this cleaner was mucking around on the bed trying to get things right, like a nurse cleaner. And they hit the wrong button. My bed went and went flat. And like just the pain that went through my body, I started screaming. And the doctor goes, "His neck's severely broken. These scans are showing you need to go into operation now." So they literally put me in another ambulance and took me to St. Vincent's Hospital. But it was one of those things. It was just like a circus of wrong diagnosis, those type of things. And I finally got in front of a really good surgeon called Richard Parkinson, who's one of the leading spinal surgeons in Australia. He did Anthony Minicello's, Bo Ryan's, and a few other boys I know now. And he got in. He said he sort of got the scans. He said, "Well, we're going in for an operation ASAP." And the last thing he said, and I heard him say to my wife, is, "We don't know whether he'll walk again when he comes out." And she was pretty upset with that type of stuff, as he would be. And he left the room. He said, "I'll give you a few minutes before we knock him out. And we've got to go. We've got to do this right now." And she sort of said to me that she'd support me no matter what happens and all that type of stuff. So it was a pretty hard point to know that you're supposed to have this good life ahead of you, and everything that you've known has crumbled in front of you. So, yeah, a tough point for me. And that was where the mental health advocate stuff came in for my life, being part of Are You OK Day and all that. Deep dark demons came upon me and probably everyone around me that I was ever involved with. So hard story. Came out of the operation. Things were good. Like they said the repairs were good. They just had to see if my body would start moving. After a few days, it did. I had 8 weeks on my back in my bed and started to learn to walk and stuff like that. It is a long story, but it's one of those things, bro, that as we said, you got to work hard every day at whatever you believe in, and it doesn't come easy. So it was a hard one for me, but I did get to come back, and obviously return to first grade for another 3 or 4 years.
But that's crazy, brother. Like, to be at a point where you literally might not walk again, and everybody and other people are telling you that too. Whether it's doctors or whatever, and you said, "Fuck you."
and that's it. And it's funny. Like, I always had the belief, and everyone that I told, they're like, "You're crazy. You won't do that again." And it was funny. And we talked about Gordon Tallis earlier in this piece. He was one of the assistant coaches at South when I came back. So in my first game back in a trial, the return to Redfern game, I was captain of the side, and I went to Gordy and I was sick. I never used to get nervous before a game. I was throwing up into the bin and all that type of stuff. I thought, what am I doing? Like, this is going to be pretty tough. And I turned to Gordy and said, "What do I do? I'm captain. What do I do? Am I doing the right thing?" And he said, "Go to the other captain walk out of the sheds now, go to the other captain and say to him that you want to get the kick-off. So no matter who wins the toss or whatever, the other side need to kick off and they need to kick it to you. So obviously the halfback will catch, give it to me. He said, you need to run at the biggest guy on the field with no bumper bars, no protection, and just run as hard as you can at him. And you go one of two things. You're either going to be done or you're going to run through him and your footy career's off. And so I went and told the captain that, and he goes, you're bullshitting. And I was like, no, serious. So Cordy's told me to say it, so I'm going to do it. And so went out, coin toss. We won it, and I said, I want to receive. And the ref goes, no, you can't receive. You've got to kick off. I'm like, no. And the guy on the other side, he said, no, we're kicking off to Ben, okay? And we're like, sweet. They kicked off to me, and I ran at their biggest fella, and he fucking annihilated me. Like, he literally, he put everything he ever had into me and smashed me. And I got up.
Do you remember?
Ryan Verlinden. So he played for the Sharks a few years later, but he was a 120, 130 kilo giant, could bench press 190, 200 kilos without blinking an eyelid. And he just literally picked me up and just went and threw me over. And I had everyone I loved at that game. They thought, oh, God, he won't
that would have been scary for them.
Mad, man. Yeah. And managed to get up, play the ball. I was in a fair bit of pain. Like, obviously, just got literally annihilated. But, yeah, man, and never looked back. It was good. Got to play every game that year from that point on. So it was a good year.
Bro, that's awesome, bro. Testament to obviously your support system. You said I talked about wifey, and I'm not sure, bro. Shout out to her. What's wife's name? Can we shout her out?
Renee.
Renee. Bro, shout out to Renee. That support system is you need it. But even you, brother, you're in your own mind to make the decision. Nah, I'm playing again. You know what I mean? And understandable to have those nerves because, like, fuck, bro. Like, and shout out to good. What a full circle moment in a way, right? Like,
it is. Yeah,
guys, no one for giving it to you, you know, in the face, giving it to your face, and then he's also encouraging you to fucking go out there and give it a crack, brother.
And I question, I'm like, is he encouraging me so I get smashed again, or is it? Or is he looking after my?
Good point too, maybe, but also when you talk about like you and Gordy are good now, like hey, for real,
and it's probably. Okay, if we always say what we're talking about now is that it's the hard knocks in life that are going to get you back up. And he's like that. He thinks that he goes, go and rip it and give it 100%. If it doesn't work, and we'll live on to the next week. So it was a pretty good mentality to have with him.
Yeah, solid. Who was the coach? Who was the head coach at the time? Was it Madge or?
Johnny Lang. So obviously, I won the grand final at Penrith.
No, not then. I'm talking about the Rabbitohs, brother. When you
Rabbitohs, he was the coach there, man. He was the coach. So he was at South. He was the coach then. So it was quite funny. He'd
it is pretty hectic, brother. It is pretty hectic, coach.
Yeah. So he's mad, man, and that's we worked together a lot. So he lived down the road from me. So it was my opportunity at South because he was coach. He gave me that opportunity, but Johnny Lang is one old school coach. Like, you get flogged. You know that you're going to feel it through the week, through the off season. It was all about mentality of being the toughest guy on the field, which was great.
You obviously played with Sam Burgess too. What was he like as a player?
Yeah, bro. He is. If I had to say, and he's up there. Like, I played with some great players, but he is a good man and one of the greatest players I've ever played with. So the mentality that he has, and you would have seen it with all the fallout with South Sydney and so forth. And he spoke about respect for the club, and because he played with injuries every week, and he said it didn't matter. He was there to bleed for his mates every bloody week. And I love that about a player. There were only a few players that I ever played with who were like that. Birdie and Gal were another two. They were phenomenal. Those guys, you pick them first in any team you ever play with because they had your back. It's you have your brothers or whatever. I grew up with sisters, so I didn't know what it was like to have that brother behind me who could really stick it with me. And Sammy was one of those. I tell the story that I actually had to have 3 operations on my neck. So you see the sort of scar there. So that's where they chopped through to fix the neck and realign it and all that type of stuff. And I met Sam before my second operation, and it's funny.
Shout out to the surgeons too.
Yeah, he's a man. He looked after me, but it's funny. You talk about Sammy. I came out of my second surgery. I'd only known him about a month, and he was standing right next to my bed. So he's one of the brothers. Like,
Whoa, what a solid guy, eh?
Man, like you talk about, he is solid to the day. And mate, I hope he's still got. I hope he's deleted all his videos off his phone. I remember he telling me about 3 days later. You've all heard of a catheter. The pipe that goes up your.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
That.
man.
I
Yeah.
had a bad car crash a few years back. Like I wanted to touch on that mental health a little bit, just to resonate on what you were talking about. But we'll talk about it after. But yeah, I know what you mean. That thing, yeah, the catheter.
And he goes. They go to me. They go, "Oh, you got to put one in." He goes, "Oh man, I got to film this." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, but no, man, he's crazy. So God love him. Had some very good times with him, and one
Coach
tough
Sam.
character. Oh, he's going good over there too, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So want to see him back in the NRL. I think you'll see that now that Wayne Bennett's with South. I think Sammy Boy will be back there somewhere.
Oh, but
Be
like
good.
I know he's a Pommy lad or an English lad, but he's South Sydney through and through. There for like,
He is, man. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Love it. So, what do you have a car crash?
Yeah, brother. Yeah. Had a pole. Like, yeah, I was a passenger. I was wasted. But bro, I couldn't, bro. I couldn't feel my legs when it happened. And I was like, fuck. Like, in my own world, in my head, I was a machine. So I was like, what the fuck? And then I was thinking, like, I couldn't walk for ages. I'm just gonna be like this for ages. Like, 'cause I couldn't walk properly for a while, and I still can't feel in the bottom of my left foot. But I'm all good now. But this was like 10 years ago, brother. But I thought, like, fuck, I'm like 22 at the time. I'm thinking, so I got down in it, and then you're obviously smashing all the pills they give you, brother. So, and then I'm just like, so you're numb, right? You're numb from not just the physical pain, but also even numb in here. Well, I was anyway. That's how I felt, and bro, I was slamming. Then I just sort of got to a point where, I just try to rope it up, brother. Fucking, I try to hang myself on this gable, brother. It snapped, which is crazy because it was a metal gable. It shouldn't even snap. So like some of the bros are like, bro, you just weren't meant to go, sort of thing. And then I got another point, bro, and I had a bloody revolver, and I was playing Russian roulette with myself. Put a loaded them up, a couple in there, spun it, and like, bro, I was it was a shit time, brother. But I feel you. Like when you go from, I wasn't an NRL player or anything, but just in my head, like I can do anything. You know what I mean? And then world comes crashing down, and you just think, fuck, is that it? You know what I mean? Am I just gonna be like this forever, or am I gonna be limping around forever, or dragging my ass, or am I gonna have to get my ass wiped? Like, bro, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Yeah, brother. So definitely, not the same. Like I didn't, like I said, I might have snap my fucking neck, but it was pretty. I was but fucked for a bit. Broken pelvis and all that shit.
I'm glad you're here to tell a story, mate. That is a good thing. It's I know that about 4 years ago, I found a young boy who'd committed suicide in the park, hanging. He didn't give himself a chance, and mate, it's terrible because they always say that bleeding moment when it happens, you go, "What am I doing?" And it's like the sliding door moment, and you're lucky that it snapped, and you're here to tell a story. Hey, it's not worth it, that type of thing. But you imagine,
hard. I'm lucky too with the revolver too, brother, because I pulled it twice. So the last one was gonna be a bullet. So like literally, brother, it was gonna be a bullet, and then. But then once it don't go the second time, you're like, oh fuck, I know this is it now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm literally sitting on a bridge, brother, like my legs hanging off. I'm looking at the water, and because people ask like, what's your favorite song of all time? And it's not even my favorite song of all time. Like I love to like listen to it, but it's more a nostalgic moment for me. I could hear Bob Marley, Three Little Birds. Every little thing is gonna be all right. I could hear it coming off the water, brother. And I'm looking down, and I hadn't had kids yet. I got 3 kids now, and I'm looking down and like thinking like I don't have kids. I'm not like married or anything yet. Like I'm still young. I'm 22. I'm like. So all of that stuff that I dream of having one day, sort of flashes by, and all the other stuff, because we grew up like some ugly stuff happened, like molested, cuzzy, all this stuff, like a lot of brothers and sisters where we come from, which is shit. But I speak about it openly because I feel like one, the perpetrators get to get off scot-free and just live, you know what I mean, if we don't talk about it, and 2, it's therapy for me, getting it off my chest, you know what I mean. So a lot of that kind of stuff. And then I probably didn't like. There's probably a lot more than just that actual moment of physical impairment. I also was, like I said, dealing with a lot of things that I had seen growing up and experienced, and that I never dealt with, brother. And I probably didn't, to be honest. I probably didn't deal with them until this year, to be honest. Like a lot better with the last. So a year ago, last week, I think it was. A year ago, last week, I was going to kill myself, brother. Again, this is like 8-9 years on from that moment, and I don't know if you know. Do you know much about TikTok live streaming or anything like that?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was
no,
like, I got number one in the rankings on TikTok on Australia, New Zealand, and all that. But
oh,
if
wow.
you, so like, you know, watching that world, it's like a cool thing, right? And
Yeah.
I ranked for like a couple of years, brother, you know, but to finally I got banned so many times just because like in that game, like people report you just because they want to take your spot and all that. It's just stupid. Like anyway, whatever. I don't really play that game. I didn't play it at all. I just go live and then get banned. I'll just make another account and go live again. But so to finally get that after like it was like 2 years, I just wanted to get it. Not even for dollars or anything. Just literally to say like we finished that number one just to do it. And finally did it, brother, with the squad in there, and we got it in all three rankings. There was a Dream Factory rankings, which was an invite only one from TikTok, and I realized that I worked out how the formula was, and that it wasn't just based on what you got gifted; it was also time and like how many battles you did. So I just worked out with the squad. I just said to them, "Hey, if you can give me like, if 8 of yous can give me time, like I'll put in 20 hours a day for this whole week." And like I created a, you know, Fast and Furious, they say we live our life, you know, we live our life a quarter mile at a time. Yeah, a quarter mile at a time. I changed it to we live our lives 5 minutes at a time, because 5 minutes is a battle. So we'd push rematch, like whether I was in the shower, on the toilet, whatever, you know, we'll just push rematch, because that garnered points, and then I wanted to see if we could beat the record, and we pretty much did. We like doubled number 2 score and stuff. Well, that was on the Dream Factory one, and then the next week we got another ranking, and then the next week we got the weeklies, which was the biggest one. We got all of those like all in 3 weeks in a row. So that was cool to do. But then there's a lot of stuff that I neglected and stuff that I probably didn't unpack back, you know, 9 years prior. That sort of came to the head, and I was like, because I'd seen that stuff too, but I walked into a dude that was hanging. My friend's like stepdad was hanging under the house, bruv. Like, so like it was like, you know, like sort of like a Queensland home, you know, like they got those 2 levels, brother. So like the lounge and everything's on top, and then you go underneath, brother. And then but they had a fridge under there where they had all their drinks and stuff. So I went to go get some, and we thought he went to work, bro. And I just walked into him. I was like 9 years old. So I'm like, I walked into him, bro, and like there was that. But I've seen heaps of ugly stuff, brother. You know what I mean? Even bro, I remember like just as a young buck jumping fences, like, you know, as a troubled youth, just running away from a party, and the police come and break it all up, and I'm jumping fences, bro. And then I jump one fence and run into another dude that's hanging. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy. But he was like, the rigor mortis was weighing. He was gone. So I like touched him because I thought, you know, I would have tried to help him off, but he was gone, bro. He was probably there for like a couple of days. And I was like, bro. So I like seen some, you know, probably all of that kind of stuff, you know, fucks with your head a bit. And
it does.
Everything else.
Yeah. It
but
does.
Sorry, brother.
No,
but for me, this is what I wanted to do, brother. I wanted to do this. My dream is to create the biggest podcast in the world, which sounds crazy. You know, this Māori boy just giving like, and it started in January, but I do, brother. And that's not a competition to anyone. That's just to see if I can do it. And also because I want to yarn to people from all over the world, brother. So yeah, that's what this is. Because, you know, it's and then also put the peeps on that are around me that want to make their own little shows, and then, and you know, which we've been able to do. Some of them are like, you know, 14 weeks deep consistently every week, the little shows that we created, like, which is cool. And I get to talk to cool people like yourself, my brother. So yeah. But thanks, I made a decision that week. So actually I'll take you through that while I'm here, might as well. I was gonna hang myself just like 3 days after we got number 1 weeklies, and I said to, I don't know, but I just got the call, and I was fucking gonna rack it up and see if I could do it, brother, you know. And then I was about to, you know, put him over, and then my baby woke up and he was teething and crying, brother, like, you know, crazy. And I was like, I better go sort him out, put him to bed, and then I'll go finish the job, you know, which was people like, that's selfish, whatever. But that was how I thought at the moment. And when I held him in my arms, brother, and I was just consoling him, you know what I mean, bro, I was just like, the tears just poured down, and I was like, what's wrong, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of things that I had created that, you know, I had to, you know, fix myself. You know, I put myself in a position that I wasn't happy with mentally, you know, to the people around me. So I made a decision that day to do everything I could from then till January to launch a podcast and I don't know who I was going to do it with or who was going to come with me, but I was going to launch first week of January. So I daily deposited every day to learn. Like I could have launched it years before. I could have launched it that day, but I just wanted to, and then now, like I said, since then till May, till what are we in May, nearly June now. That's all I've been doing, brother. I'm enjoying it, and it doesn't feel like work, even though it's been 220 episodes or whatever. It feels good, man, and I feel like I'm actually
amazing,
living my purpose, brother. I haven't made a dime off it either, and I'm down the line. That's whatever. They're got to feed the kids, but we're fine right now. You know what I mean? Right now it's just all about growing and sharing stories and connecting with people and seeing how many yarns we can and trying to put my people on that want to give it a crack too. So. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, brother. I'm here for you, not me. Not bad, cuz.
But it's the stories, isn't it? And it's like you're talking and it's helping you, but it's also helping everyone else. And that's the thing I say to a lot of people. I tell my story about this type of stuff, and not only is it helping someone else think about it, like you're saying, you're holding a little one and you realize that type of stuff, but you're also helping yourself at the same time. You're putting your back through the situation, going, this is my why. And I know I have those. You have those fleeting moments all the time, and I do. And as you said, you pick up your little one. My kids are a little bit older now, but I hug my kids every day and tell them I love them every time I leave them. So if I'm leaving another room, I'm like, love you, and walk out, because it's that reminder. And it's like, because you don't know. And I had a story when I first came down to Dragons, and I was driving with my mate in the ute, and he was telling me about when he lost his dad and his brother. And he said, the one thing I regret is I never got to tell them I said I love them, like before I left. Like he'd left it like a barbecue and didn't say like, see ya, I love you. He goes, from that day forward, I've told everyone I love them no matter what. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's so forever and a day. I know the last word I tell my friends, my family, whatever, is I love them. So it's mad.
Origin, brother. Origin. Can we get into Origin? I've got a couple of quick ones before we go.
Yep.
What's that experience, bro? Like? Yeah, you were there at the start, because you were there. When they talk about the 8 in a row, you were there, obviously. Pre.
And that's the thing. So we sort of Origin's tough, man. Origin's a different kettle of fish. So they talk about who should be making Origin, all that type of stuff, and they name all these pretty players, and understandably the best players in the game, but some players just aren't built for Origin. It's tough, different, and it's just tough. It's brutally aggressive in the way that we talk about that, and it's probably a lot different now than when it was when I was playing. Like obviously the first night in camp, you're on the drink, you're bonding, you're making sure we're all teammates and we're all ready to go, and then you get flogged for 4 or 5 days, and then you go smoothly into the game. And mate, it's a battle. Like I got to play against Andrew Johnsons, the Brad Fittlers, the guys I looked up to as a kid. I got to play with Shane Webke, one of my idols as a kid growing up.
What
he was
my roommate.
What a man! He was the best. And so those type of things. So brutally, as I said, and it's probably the word that I use is brutal. Like when you think that you can't take another step, you've got to. It's that type of football, and you see it in the players that they just keep pushing no matter what, because you don't know when you're going to play your last game for Queensland or New South Wales. And unfortunately for me, I played 04-05. Yeah, 04-05. And then I made the Australian training camp for 06, just before Origin. Ricky Stewart was the Australian coach, and he spoke to me about what was needed in the Australian team. So I was like, okay, my career's getting better, that type of stuff. He said, you got to get through a few things, Origin, that type of stuff. And I snapped my knee in half, and that was my last chance. Like I spoke to Mel Meninga, obviously the Origin coach of the great run of the straight 8 runs. And he said, and I remember it clearly, at the end of 06, he goes, mate, I know you've done your knee, but when we lose, you'll be back in the team. Okay? They didn't lose. They didn't lose for 8. They didn't lose. And that was the issue, is that Queensland was so good through that dominant period, and you couldn't knock anyone out. Like, they were a team. They stuck together. No one was injured. And it's just the wrong place, wrong time. It's like, as I said, that sliding doors moment. If I hadn't snapped my knee, I would have been part of the whole 8 series. My footy career may have been in a totally different period. But then I look at it and go, okay, well, I met my wife when I got injured. So there's a
That's right, brother.
There.
That's right, brother. And you would take that for any Origins, brother.
100%. I got my kids for it. But in Origin, and it's the thing of, I wish there was something more for, say, New Zealand, for the Kiwis boys and all that, to understand. Like, man, like it is for Queensland. That's the pinnacle. Like, I know they're trying to build Australia up to be the best, and it is now because the other teams are getting better. But back when I was looking to play for Australia, they were the best team. They'd been the best team for 20 years. So it was no competition. So the competition was New South Wales, Queensland, and you really wanted to play that every week. And so, it was one of those things that, it is the best game alive, rugby league. I undoubtedly say that. Where can you get guys who have to be as strong as an NFL player, but physically fit like a soccer player? You got the fitness is on another level now, and we're running around with 130 kilo giant with no padding. It's one of those sports that I know the mums are scared that their kids aren't getting into it because they don't want them to get injured. But at an age, this is the best game in the world.
Yeah. What do you think of the potential that they would take the kickoff away?
That's my favorite part of the game, man. It's and it's scary. Like, they say because someone gets knocked out. If they got the right technique, you don't get knocked out. So you look at Jake Trebojevic, he doesn't get knocked out,
Tech
and he
specialist.
tackles. That's it. Cameron Smith, he tackled every kickoff. He was there in the middle of it because he had perfect technique. If they take the kickoff away, that's where I suppose boys become men. It was a big thing. I played with Marty Lang, bang bang Marty Lang. He would fight you for that run. He just wanted to run over someone. It was just it proved his toughness. He just wanted to do that, and
It was short too, yeah.
Yeah, man. He wasn't the biggest guy in the world, but he just few screws loose if he's listening to this, Marty. but he, man, just tough. You hear these stories about certain people. He's one of the toughest players I've ever mentioned. So they take the kickoff away. They've taken a lot away from rugby league now. I don't agree with that little short dropout there with the penalties and all that type of stuff. It's all the old school stuff that made the game great, and we're losing it.
Yeah, you think it's just like, especially like obviously the dropouts, but like the kickoffs, like you're literally changing the fabric of the game, I believe. Like, how do you start then?
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have a tap off like touch or Oztag, like, no, man. Like it's a hard one. Don't change. Yeah, you said the fabric of the game. That the first thing you look at in the grand final Origin is that first kickoff.
Yes.
Come on, man. You'll see who's on. Like, this is the toughest. Whoever wins that first one.
Like their first kickoff to the season, whatever the first game is for your team or for rugby league at the start of the year, their first kickoff too, all of it. Like,
but it's not going to change. If they do a tap off from the center of the field, I guarantee you're going to have a front rower running the ball off the tap as hard as he can, 10 meters apart, and bang.
What are they going to say? Now you can't run off the back fence, even if it's a tap.
Right. Oh, what's Palliacina?
Oh, no, man. Flopetta Palliacina.
The best. And that's what I mean. Like the Warrior boys, that's what I love. They were tough. They used to do that type of stuff, man. And you can't lose that from the game. You cannot lose that from the game. Yeah.
All right, brother. I know I'm taking a bit of your time, so I got a couple of quick little questions for you.
Man.
Top 5 toughest players you played against.
So number one, Stephen Kearney.
True.
Played him
number one.
Yeah, number one, man. I played him in my first ever game debut, first Melbourne. My first hit up, he swung an arm across the mouth, split my lip. Went to the side of the field. They had the clips that they could put in your lip. So they clipped me on the side of the field and went back out, and they said, I'll stitch you at half time. Next run, I ran straight at him again. He smashed me and ripped it open. He goes, don't you ever run at me again. I'm like, oh, man, okay. And so they went back to the side and they said, oh, we don't know what we can do here. So they sort of held it together. We kept playing, never got to run at him again in the first half. And so at half time, stitched all up, and I've had all these stitches all the way down my face. So first run in the second half, kick off, straight at him, bang. Grabbed my foot, ripped him open. He goes, I told you not to run at me. So he's just one of these physical, aggressive guys. I was like, oh, man. And we kept playing throughout the game. And at the end of the game, he actually came up to me and he goes, man, everyone else I've ever done that to would never run it again. So he ripped me open a few times, but physically, he just wanted to smash you. So number one, by far, him. Then you can put them all on one hand, and they're all Broncos players. Shane Webke, Petro Sinavasiva, Brad Thorne, and probably
Great All Black there.
They're mate. And mate, he's a champion bloke, amazing bloke. Yeah. And then probably the last one that I would say is Lottie Dakiri.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So a winger off the back fence, he would run so hard. Like in regards to toughness,
yeah.
But they're all the ones I played against. Like the Broncos were the best team in the comp. Like, they were tough, man, and to play like that. But you could name the whole Warriors side. Like they're all there. The boys are all tough, but I played with some tough individuals.
Yeah,
so like
okay.
Tony Puletuas and all that.
Give us your top five that you just enjoyed playing with. That you think,
playing
with. It's relative to now. It could change tomorrow, brother. I don't know.
Well, it is, and you go okay. You always used to hear John Lang say you pick a team who you wouldn't want to play against. So number one would be Tony Puletua. Never want to play against him. He's finesse, but he's still physical. And Paul Gallen, Greg Bird, probably the main three. Then you've got Andrew Fafita, and he's a freak. I've never seen such a big lump of a lad being able to run faster than any of the backs in fitness. So those are there. And then if I had to say another person that I thought probably the toughest guy that's ever been on the field, and I'd have to say Cameron Smith. Mate, he's just a freak. Well, then and that's when
what do you mean when you relate to Cameron Smith?
Well, he's got a dog's body, man. He's the skinniest little.
He should be working for Mountain Assets.
Exactly. He should be an accountant. Like, he's so small, but he took everything on. Like, he was amazing and didn't get injured. Like, the way he practiced and do all those type of things, he really made it his own, and that's why he's the greatest player to ever play the game. But he had to be tough to play 80 minutes every week, and we ran at him as hard as we could. He was phenomenal. But then you get someone like and it's funny, more names are popping in my head. Kieran Foran. Like, he's tough, man.
Bro,
when he played at Manly, I took a tap and he sort of went, come on, like that at him. And I remember, and I hit him. He went back 10 meters. So we just went, he went back 10 meters and then came at me again and tried to whack me again. And like, I got smashed. Man, he's just tough. So you get toughness like that, which that's why he's one of the greatest players to play in the earlier years of his career. He was awesome.
It just like the injuries. Do you think it's just because of how tough he plays the game too?
And that's the thing. The guys that get injured are playing 100% the whole time. Like, they're just giving it their all, and that's a hard thing. They're doing it that way, and it shortens their career.
Yeah, Kiwi, great day. Huh?
Yeah. See, different mentality. Their mindset's weird, man. It's tough.
Hey, solid, brother. If you could have one meal for the rest of your life, what do you choose? Every day,
ice cream.
You gotta eat it.
Ice cream, bro.
Ice cream. Yeah, ice cream, brother.
No, bubblegum ice cream. My kids they're fanatics. It's I don't know if you guys have it over there. Cold Rock ice cream. You've ever heard of Cold Rock?
Oh, I'm in Perth, cuz you stereotyping me,
Are
Adi.
you?
Yeah, I'm in Perth, bro.
I didn't know where you're at. Yeah,
I'm in
Cold
Perth,
Rock there then.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Bubblegum from there. I'll have to try it.
Yeah, with all the mix-ins, bro. Oh, the best. Yeah. My kids forever our next door neighbours own Cold Rock, so we're always heading in there to get it. So
solid. Have you ever tried Goody Gumdrops, brother? Goody Gumdrops from
what's
next
that?
time you go to New Zealand, brother, try it. It's like a lolly ice cream, brother. It's pretty nice. I reckon you
nice.
Like give it a crack.
When I was in New Zealand, I had Hokey Pokey.
Oh yeah. I'm not really a hokey pokey guy, eh? I'm not really I know it's from New Zealand, but you loved it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, I like any ice cream, man. Any ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream. Solid, brother.
Yeah.
What about superpowers besides all the superpowers you have? Which one would you choose? Or maybe even create one if you could have one.
Yeah,
and tell us why you want it.
Man, I ask these questions to my kids every day, and they always change. And I don't know, you get to say one and the other, but invisibility.
Oh,
I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Why invisibility? No.
Ask the footy boys, super creep. No, joking.
He's a super creep.
No, man. If I could, I don't know. So I'm big on my own time. So like for me to shut out, and we talk about head noise and all that type of stuff, is I need I wake up at 3:30 every morning, go to the gym at 4:30, but that first half an hour of the day, no one's awake, and I just sit there in my own peace and quiet. Kids are asleep, missus are asleep, and I get myself into the right mind. And if I'm invisible, no one can see me, and I can just sit there and relax. So it'd actually add some visibility. It's
I like it,
it's so I
brother.
can get my mind right. Yeah,
Yeah, I like the
yeah, man.
why and visibility. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh, Give us visualization, brother. 10 years from now, what does life look like for Ben Ross?
Yeah, so I just had my 44th birthday, so I'm a little bit old now. So you're saying when I'm 54,
Yeah,
it's
54. What do you hope
obviously,
life to be like?
whew, yeah, and it's actually life to where it is right now is it's strange. You talk about people talk about death and all this type of stuff, and I'm for me, I'm really happy. I'm not scared of death because I've achieved everything I want to in life, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm really happy. I've got, and I touch wood, I've got healthy kids, I've got a great missus, and a really good life. I enjoy what I do. So 10 years from now, I was only continuing that on. My kids will be 18. My eldest will be 21. Scary, but
Wow.
my goal in life now, and especially in 10 years, is to have my kids set up. So as I said, I work in the finance industry. Is to understand that life is so expensive right now. To live, to do everything, is to obviously give my kids a head start in life. So 10 years from now, I own pharmacies for a living with my wife. So to have them firing, pumping, doing everything right, and just making sure my kids are happy. If my kids aren't happy, then I haven't done my job as a parent. So yeah, 10 years from now is that, and just doing what I do best.
Yeah, I love that, brother.
Mm,
Last
mm.
one, cuz have you got any pieces of advice, either one or two, or it's up to you, for anybody that's um about to crack first grade, or maybe not even first grade, brother. Maybe they're just on the put like on the cusp of doing something great like that, in
Yeah,
life.
no,
Anything
in
for
life is,
yeah.
and I can tell you is, and I stand by my motto is never give up. NGU, never ever give up, no matter how hard it is. So take you back to one story, and everyone knows this boy is Ronaldo Molitano. So he plays for the Sharks, my
Yeah.
bro. You go ask him. He snapped his shoulder playing at the Sharks in the lower grades when I looked after him, and it was all destined to not do anything. And this kid had the belief. He used to go feed the homeless in his own time. He used to go make the sandwiches and go. We used to go to the city together, and he was just a good kid. And we're sitting there, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know if I could make like my shoulder's stuffed now. I don't know if I can come back." And took him to the surgeons and did everything. And said to him, "Mate, if I can come back from a broken neck, you can come back from something like this. Never give up." And he sort
Yeah.
of lives that motto every day. And you have a look at him and how grateful he is that every fleeting moment he doesn't give up on anything. And I'll probably give that to anyone, no matter whether it's life in general, is you don't give up. I coach a number of kids at the moment, and they get down in the dumps about something. I'm like, don't give up. Let's go. Let's do this better. There's always something you can do. You might be able to find someone else who can help you. And that's what I mean. We spoke about mental health. Don't ever
Mm.
give up. There's someone you can speak to. You can
Yeah.
listen to this podcast. It's those type of things that just click it. All it is one brief second to change your mindset and move. So yeah, man. 1 point, never give up.
Never give up. I love it, brother.
Yeah,
Hey, I just want to say time's the most valuable commodity we have as human beings. The one thing we can never get back. We can always get back things, we can always get back money. But time spent is time lost, brother. So thank you for sharing nearly an hour and a half of your time with me, brother, that you could have shared with anybody else, brother. I appreciate it, Cuzzy.
appreciate
And
it, man.
hopefully this isn't the last time. Hopefully one day we can have some ice cream together, my brother. Eh?
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah. Well, you're in Perth.
Yeah, man, Perth, Cuzzy. If you're ever over here,
Well,
hit me up,
hey,
Cuzzy.
we got developments all over there. I'll make sure that's one of my next trips, bro. And I'm coming.
Yeah, if you are, and even if I'm over there, brother, if a schedule lines
Yeah,
up, brother, we'll catch up.
100%.
But straight
Yeah,
up, man, grateful, brother, for this. And I know I've
appreciate
pestered
it.
you for like a couple of months, but thank you for finally giving me a shot, Cuzzy. I appreciate it.
No, all good. I love it, man, and I love what you're doing. I just wish you the best of luck, bro. You're proving what you're speaking. What you prove exactly in that is that you're working hard. You're going to do it. You achieve great things. You said you're up to about 220 podcasts now. That's phenomenal, mate. All the best to you, and I hope we get to meet again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms.